I think I'm one of the few people who've never watched Narcos. I don't have a particular reason as to why I never have.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I've never had the appeal for it. I just didn't have it. I know it had, like, there was a time it was really popular, it was really famous because of how people liked it, and I just didn't get into it. There are a couple of things that I haven't gotten into. As much as I am a film and TV show enthusiast, there are popular TV shows and movies that I haven't watched. But who knows, maybe probably towards the end of this review, I'll decide on watching Narcos because Griselda inspired me to watch it. So let's get into the review. I think one of the bait and switch thing, or rather statement, the showrunners used to sell this show is the statement by Pablo Escobar, where he said the one woman he's most afraid of is Griselda Blanco. I feel like I'm saying it with a Mexican accent, so that makes me feel more authentic. Griselda Blanco. So Griselda is actually a good show. I loved how they captured the 70s and the 80s, as in the 70s and the 80s I'm thinking mostly they concentrated around the 70s, the 80s. I feel like they captured that period perfectly. The fashion, especially in Miami, Miami is, it's all about parties, and that would be the best place to sell drugs, I feel, because of all the partying and everything. And as I said, they captured the time period very, very well. Sofia Vergara as a Griselda did a good job. She kind of changed her face. They had prosthetics around her nose and her face, so she looked a bit different than what we are used to, because she's gorgeous, of course, but she didn't look as like the Griselda that people know of, and that was sort of a point of contention for a lot of people, because people are like, she doesn't look that like the actual Griselda, and I was like, I think she would be better. She would be better suited to sell the role, She would be better suited to sell the role. So for me, I don't think I had a problem with the aspect of appearance. I think they did a good job in bringing the woman to life. I think I'm done with the positives about the show. It was a good show. I liked how they used Spanish during most of their dialogues, especially between the Spanish-speaking people, because they're from Colombia. I don't know if Colombians, I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt more authentic, because if I am talking from someone who's from my country or from my place, my community, I would prefer talking in a language where we both understand each other clearly. Let's say from where I am, Swahili, or maybe Kikuyu. I'm more fluent in Swahili though. It feels more authentic when you do it like that. It kind of feels inauthentic when people are around, people who are particularly speak a certain language and all of a sudden switch to English. I liked how it was more Spanish dominated in speech than anything else. It made it feel more authentic. Sorry, I'm rambling. But I thought that was something that I liked. As much as I don't like reading subtitles when I'm watching a movie and TV show, I feel like that suited it perfectly. Now, away from the positives and to what I didn't like about the TV show, I feel like it was too limited to give the story of Griselda. I feel like I would have wanted more time to know this lady. If they could give Narcos about 3 seasons, I think a full season with more episodes would have made more sense. Because for me, there are particular points that didn't make a lot of sense, and it reminded me of Dany in Game of Thrones. Her descent to madness did not make sense because we didn't see the descent of madness. I feel the same happened to her. As in, there was a point we left her running really high, and then we now meet her at a point where she's almost running mad. I would have wanted to see what led to that, and probably 2 episodes or 3 episodes to just explain what happened during that time period would have done it more justice than just explaining it to us through photos and narrative, Show, don't tell. showing us how she descended into madness would have made more sense. I think that's the only thing that I didn't like about the show. I would have wanted more time with the character, most especially because she's a woman. Women and men are different, point blank period. There's no debate around that. I know the West thinks differently, but men and women are different. If you look at the place where Griselda is, you wouldn't really compare her you would compare her to Pablo, but Griselda is a woman. She's a mother also, so she has a lot more to lose than just an ordinary man who's running drugs. You have so much to lose. There's a attitude you're given as a woman in certain industries, and I'm not advocating for this kind of industry of trafficking bad things, but there's a certain pressure you're faced with as a woman in certain industries that a man would never face, simply because there are not a lot of women, let's say, doing this kind of work, So I would have liked to see more of that struggle. I would have liked to see more of that struggle. I would have liked to see how more ruthless than she was in the show. I would have loved to see more of that, the ruthlessness. I don't know what that says about me, but I would have loved to see more ruthlessness. So I think it's a pretty good series. It's solid. It's about 6 episodes. I watched it within a night. So I think that's my only critique about it. It was a bit too short for me. I would have loved more. I wouldn't even want another season of it. Just a couple more episodes within the first season would have been fine. So Griselda was a good show. I definitely recommend it. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. If you are a fan of Narcos, watch it. I think it will bring on what you guys experienced in the 3 seasons of Narcos. And even if you didn't watch Narcos like me, you would also enjoy it. I think Sofia Vergara did a good job. As in, she embodied the role really, really well, especially when she was speaking Spanish. It felt really authentic, and I enjoyed watching her. She was the highlight of the show from the beginning to the end. I feel like it was more of a sad story than anything, because, and this is a spoiler, if you don't want the spoiler, you can skip this part. I feel like it was more of a sad story than anything, because in the end, she gets to lose her sons, and they get to kill her sons towards the very end of her sentence because she gets caught. But she gets to lose her children, which I believe is very, very painful. She goes back to Colombia, something that we don't get to see but are told, and I had to do research about. She went back to Colombia. She lived up to, I think, 8 or 10 years before she got murdered herself. So I feel like it's more of a sad story than anything. I know TV shows and movies get to depict this kind of lifestyle as, high functioning, like it looks it's dramatized, so it looks something a bit fun, which should not be, but that's the magic of movies and TV shows. But it just goes to show that this is not a lifestyle for everyone or anyone. It's actually pretty sad, and it's pretty sad. People who get to die around this drug trafficking thing, it's not funny. So she was one of the most famous drug traffickers in the world. Her net worth was about $2 billion before everything went down the drain. So I don't think there's anything I've left out. I don't think there's anything I've left out, but Griselda was such a good show. I definitely recommend it. It's currently streaming on Netflix. It's currently, I think, the #1 show on Netflix. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Tell me what you think about it, and I will definitely see you on the next one. So bye.